for people quitting their jobs, the lack of productivity in your company, missed deadlines, and dissatisfied customers.
Very bad.
That's a pretty outrageous claim, don't you think?
Yep.
Bad news, it's true. Why? It all comes down to why we're here. Communication. Or better said, miscommunication. Miscommunication is the #1 cause of uncertainty, which leads to lack of morale, lack of productivity, lack of work ethics, delays, and poor customer service. So in the end you see that it is your fault, but it is also mine, and it's all of our fault, because we all let miscommunication and misunderstandings happen. But the good news is that there is something we can do about that. The only problem is when it really comes to how we can improve our communication, how to master this art. We're bombarded with contradicting, counterintuitive, and very vague messages that hold very little instructional value. Statements like, people may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. The most important thing in communication is to hear what isn't being said. Or my favorite, the less you reveal, the more people can wonder. And indeed, it left me to wonder what to do with this statement, because in the end we're instructed to read between the lines, read the nonverbal cues, and then somehow, miraculously, build assumptions on what the underlying message of the speaker is. This kind of listening, to read between the lines, we could call it strategic listening, but is it effective communication? Let me give you an example from everyday life. Imagine you were cooking, you spent the last 2 hours cooking for your family, a nice meal. You're really proud of yourself because you created something new. And then, suddenly, your husband tells you, there's something green in the soup. Now, I don't know about you, but my first impulse would be to say, if you don't like the taste of it, you can cook it next time. But would that be effective communication?
No.
I'm going to share a secret with you. Every message has 4 sides to it. It can be spoken with 4 different tongues and heard with 4 different ears. This communication model was invented by a German psychologist. It's called the 4 ears model. So let's go back and let's analyze the statement. There's something green in the soup. What did your husband actually mean, or your wife, what did they actually mean when they said this statement? According to this model, there are 4 different possibilities. One is, he simply wanted to state the fact. There's something green. I can see it. The other possibility is that he implied appeal. There's something green. Tell me, what is it? The next possibility is that he's implying some sort of statement about your relationship, what he thinks of you, or how you get along. There's something green, and I think you should know what it is. And according to the model, there's another one. That somehow, knowingly or not, he's adding to that message something about, he's revealing something about himself. So his emotions or beliefs. There's something green. I don't actually know what it is. It's kind of embarrassing. So we can see there are the words of the message in the center, and there are the 4 possible intents of the speaker. And these are only the four different ways that the sender can intend for this message to sound. But we also have the receiver. And the receiver doesn't know what the speaker meant or what he wants to imply. So the receiver, the person listening, will apply their own biases. So from the perspective of the receiver, how can this message be interpreted? First, okay, my husband is telling me a fact. There's something green. Yes, I agree, I can see it as well. The other possibility is you will think that he's implying appeal. So he's actually telling me that I should only cook things that he knows in the future. Another option is that you might think, okay, he's giving me feedback about my relationship with him. So he thinks my cooking is questionable, and I should maybe not cook for the whole family. Or I will think that he's revealing something about himself. So he's probably quite uncomfortable because he doesn't know what this is. As you can see, one simple message, but so many different variables and so many different things that can go wrong. So, and also my reaction that I would have used to say, if you don't like it, you can cook it yourself, might have been a bit too hasty, might have caused frustration and probably a fight. So how can we avoid this situation? How can we be effective communicators? Whenever you speak, it is your responsibility to ensure that your listener doesn't have to read between the lines. Spell it out. Think of the different ways that this message can be interpreted and make sure that no doubt is left of what you actually mean. And whenever you listen, it is your responsibility to ensure that you understand the message the way it was intended. So think, listen and think what the different meanings could have been, and validate if your assumption is correct. So you will see with these few simple steps, and just reminding yourself that a message is never just a simple sentence, you can be not creating chaos and your companies to go down the drain, but create certainty instead and be an effective communicator. Over to you.